Hello everyone. Welcome to a very special anniversary episode on Sustainable Living with Shilpa Reddy. When I launched this venture with Kanti, all we wanted to do is create awareness about environment and sustainability. Thank you for showering your love and blessings upon us. The feeling of gratification has been very strong through this journey. 12 months since the inception of the channel, and I'm very happy today more than ever. This episode is brought to you by the Tribe Concepts and powered by Planet Green Farm Natura. On this special anniversary episode, I'm honored and blessed to have with me my guru, an inspiration to generations, a yogi, mystic, visionary of our times, and the man behind massive ecological movements like Rally for Rivers and Kaveri Calling. Let's welcome Sadhguru on my show.
4 billion phones are sold every year. So this Teri Dam, which was completed somewhere in the 70s, towards the last part of 70s, from then to now is more than 50 years. It's not anymore in use, the silt has come up right till the top. You cannot dredge it, because dredging is more expensive than building the dam. See, all these idiots who set up their shops and stuff.
Namaskaram, Sadhguru.
Namaskar.
I must consider myself extremely fortunate to have had the interaction with you at two other occasions like this. One for Rally for Rivers and one during Adi Yogi consecration. Today is extremely overwhelming for me because this is for my channel that you'll be conversing with me about sustainability. And not just that, Isha and you have been a huge source of inspiration in my life, and it helped me transform on many levels. The kind of work I do, or the kind of inner strength and inner growth that I've seen. So, extremely grateful for that. Thank you. Sadhguru, you often say that if we as a generation of people do not make the necessary corrections towards ecology and the way we live, we are heading for a disaster. So my first question is, what are the three most fundamental things or ecological initiatives that every nation must take up? And how do we urge the concern, or how do we generate the concern among lawmakers and national leaders?
A similar question was asked to me when I was speaking at one of the UN agencies in Germany. They asked me, what are the three things, Sadhguru, that you think? So I told them the three things are soil, soil and soil. This is something that's not been looked at because it's fashionable in the cities to talk about air pollution. I'm not saying it's not a concern, it is a concern. But air can be very easily fixed. The soil degradation is the biggest challenge for tropical and subtropical nations or regions, and maximum amount of human population lives in these regions. Because today there is air pollution, tomorrow if you stop all the carbon spewing industry and everything, if you stop it for a month, believe me, everything will change in a month's time.
We saw that during lockdown.
Yes, you saw that in the beginning. But soil is not like that. The soil that you destroy, if you want to fix, if you go aggressively fixing it, it will take 15 to 25 years. If you do it without much interest, it will take 40 to 50 years before you can get soil to a certain level. Why soil is, more than 80% of the planet's life, including you and me, including multitude of microbes, insects, worms, birds, animals, of course trees, everything is living on approximately 39 inches of topsoil. That's the average topsoil that you have on the planet. These 39 inches is the host for over 85% of the life on this planet. But the level of degradation, degeneration of soil that's happened is, in the last 70 years, is scary, because the amount of biomass in the soil has come down by around 80% in the last 50 years.
Wow, that's huge.
This is really death of life. It is expected, if we go business as usual, by the end of this century, 80% of insect life and worm life will be gone. Okay, if the worms die, what's our problem? We anyway don't like the insects. This is the attitude of the urban populations. What we need to understand is, see, if all the insects die, let's say tomorrow there are no insects, all life on this planet has approximately somewhere between 2.5 to 4.5 years of life. Everything will end. If all the worms die, you have approximately 18 to 30 months of time, everything will end. If all the microbes die today, well, tomorrow everything will end. You're cursing the virus right now, but you need to understand what's keeping you alive is microbial life on all levels. And in the soil, which is the host for all this, the amount of life that we have killed is phenomenal. If we go like this, everything may look normal. Suppose there is no microbial life in the soil, well, this tree won't survive. None of the crops will come up. The organic content in the soil is just going down at an alarming pace, This is happening essentially because we have a manicured sense of planet, okay? If the soil has to be rich, it needs organic material. Organic material can only happen either by animal waste, green litter from the trees, and of course the dead animals and human beings. That's one way we are eco-friendly. That also people want to take it and go to Mars these days. So, if all the human beings disappear tomorrow morning, as the lockdown kind of demonstrated, if we all disappear, believe me, in 10 years' time, ecologically, the planet will be super rich. So we need to understand that we as human beings, who are supposed to be the most evolved creatures on this planet, have become the most deadly problem for this planet. Not that the planet is in peril, planet will survive. It's just that it will become inhospitable to human life and probably for all the vertebrate lives. In the last 70 years, nearly 66% of vertebrate life is gone.
66?
Yes, animals, fish, everything which has a vertebrates, because we are looking at these terms because it is very directly related to us. A vertebrate is very directly connected to us. 66% of vertebrates have gone down. But human population in the last century has gone up 4 times or nearly 5 times. So if we do not address the core, these are unpopular issues, nobody wants to touch it. But the most important thing is this, yes, there is air pollution, yes, there is water pollution, all these things are connected with soil. If you fix the soil, if you take the necessary action to fix the soil, that action will take care of water and air also. Because you cannot fix the soil without putting back substantial amount of green cover. About 50 years ago, there were 9 trillion trees, that's what is estimated. Today approximately there are 3 trillion trees. It is expected if you go at the same pace, by the end of this century there will be actually no trees, only bushes will be there. So, this may look like a doomsday kind of talk. Before that, nature may fix it. The only way nature can fix it is if we do not fix this consciously, nature will do it in a cruel way. Human life will go through tremendous turmoils, and culling of human beings will happen. Like we are culling other animals if we feel there are too many, all right? Culling of human beings will happen not by the governments or by the people, but nature will do it. How it'll do it, you don't know. It may come anyway. Right now, nearly 3 million people or 3 million deaths have happened due to virus. If another virus comes which is more virulent than this, in terms of its ability to kill us, well, we would have lost 300 million just like that probably. It is very much possible. I am not predicting it, nor am I intending such a thing should happen. I am saying as human beings, we should be able to fix our problems, things that we do consciously. This is why the whole movement that we are doing as Conscious Planet, it's very, very important. If we do not learn to eat, drink, stand, breathe, wear clothes and reproduce and die consciously, there's no answer for this.
So, Sadhguru, majority of your work is towards sustainable solutions, but also a lot of your work is to raise human consciousness. What role can an individual or small businesses, communities, societies can play?
See, these are not two different things. Human beings living consciously and sustainable solutions are not two different things. The only reason why we are doing things in ways that it is not sustainable is because we are not conscious. We are not doing our activity on this planet in a conscious manner. Everybody has their compulsions. Individual people have compulsions, societies have compulsions, nations have compulsions, the global reality has its compulsions. To fulfill these compulsions, we are doing things which are taking away the basis of our existence. This is like a classic story from the Panchatantra, where a man is sitting at the wrong end of the branch and cutting it. He is going at it because he wants to be successful, but when he succeeds, he will fall. That's where we are. We are doing this kind of silly activity. When we succeed, we will fall. So, what can small businesses, what can individual people do? See, for young entrepreneurs, there are any number of opportunities. One thing is, this is an incredible move that India has initiated. Prime Minister initiated this as a very, it's a very passionate thing for him probably, but as a nation we have initiated what is called as Solar Alliance. This is a massive thing. Here, there is enormous business opportunity if you wish to participate. There are various ways technologically in terms of the waste that comes out of it, how to recycle the panels that are there after 12-15 years. There's an enormous amount of business there, running into hundreds of billions of dollars. For example, the e-waste in the world. Not even 20% of the e-waste is recycled right now. When I say e-waste, well, there are many things, there are computers, there are other kinds of chips and whatever. One thing that everybody is familiar with is a phone. India is considered a poor country, or at least not among the developed countries. But 40% of the people replace their cell phones in less than 1 year.
40%.
40%. 4 billion phones are sold every year. There are only 7.6 billion population. In that, if you leave the children, it's 5+, all right? 4 billion phones are sold every year. Who's buying it? The same people, right? So if you take the e-waste, the value of this is something else. There is more gold in the e-waste than you would find in the gold ore. Right now it is some $63 billion business, but if you reprocess the 100% of it, this is a massive business. India is eminently placed to start these kind of things. People are just trying to do the same things. This is the time the youth should think of how to get into sustainable businesses. The governments and the policymakers should look at how to support them in the initial phases, because any new area or arena of business will need a initial hand-holding. That ecosystem has to come. Some things are being done, a lot of things are being done, but I would say it's still not enough because this massive population, the amount of waste we create, we don't create per capita waste like United States of America or Europe. Our per capita waste is very low because 60% of the population is living in a very low level of economic, prosperity. But we are generating nearly 80 million tons of solid waste every year. There is a lot that can be done with this. I said three issues of soil, soil and soil. If you want to regenerate soil, when you have 80 million tons of shit, you got a tremendous opportunity to regenerate the soil. It's not waste. It never was waste. We need to understand this. There is no such thing as waste because there is only planet. Everything that you do is a natural recycle. A tree grows, drops its leaves, something happens, everything is just a cycle. Only we are standing in the way of not allowing this cycle to happen. So every one of us should structure our lives in such a way, what are we using today? Where will this go? This much consciousness. Whatever I'm using today, where will this go tomorrow? Where will it end up? What is its ultimate goal? Now, one important thing is, in India, as a nation, we have been a textile nation for hundreds of years or thousands of years. There was a time when we clothed entire Europe and Arabia. Literally 60% of the clothing was from India. Nobody made exquisite clothing like this on the planet, even today. Nobody can make something like what you're wearing, all right? Nowhere else on the planet. Because these skills won't happen overnight. This is not something you can go to a textile course for 4 years and pick it up. This is something innately developed. In each region, they had all these different kinds of weaves, different kinds of dyes. With whatever local material, they came out with such exquisite weaves. Over 132 weaves, distinct weaves were there at the beginning of this century. Right now, almost 65 to 70 of them are near extinction. We are making some efforts in that, we'll talk about it later. But textile has been our way of doing things. We need to go back to that. See, from farm to spinning, to ginning, to spinning, to weaving, to textile production, to sales, these things are not connected, we've disrupted everything. Cotton is grown in this place, spinning happens in that place. I'm telling you, it's happening. Most of the spinning mills here have closed down in Coimbatore. Coimbatore used to be the cotton city. Cotton is grown somewhere, spinning happens somewhere, and weaving happens somewhere. Ginning happens somewhere actually. It's crazy. You're transporting the same material 3 to 4,000 kilometers before it becomes a product.
Right.
This is an insane way of doing things. These things have happened because organic way of doing things has been disturbed. This has been disturbed essentially during the British era, when they wanted to systematically break the Indian textile strength because they wanted to build Manchester, which they successfully did, okay? Now people are very proud to call Coimbatore the Manchester of India. I said, please don't do that, huh? Let them call Manchester Coimbatore of England because this is where the real weaving and spinning and everything, the cotton was, all right, textiles. This is the region in which it happened, and in every region there are unique ways. If we bring this back, even in reasonable context, if we develop the needed markets, if we revive the skills that are there, I'm telling you, in this country, easily it will employ anywhere between 200 to 300 million people within the next 5 to 6 years' time. Some efforts are being made by the textile industry, many policies have changed, we have also been working with them, but it's not enough if you want a revolution. Above all, for all this you need a market. That's why you are very important, that's one reason I'm talking to you. because we need a market. Market should be sensitive to aesthetics. Market should be sensitive to sustainability. Right now, they want to go to some shop and buy 10 nylon clothes. If they go shopping, nobody's buying one. When we were all growing up, Ugadi means one set of clothes. Ganapati festival means one set of clothes. Deepavali means one set of clothes. Sankranti means one set of clothes. Only 4 sets of clothes came our way every year till we became 17, 18 years of age. Really.
That's how it was, yes. I agree.
But now people go and just buy. No, they're not even going, they just chuk means it'll come and land up in their house. All what is it called? E-marketing, or what is it?
E-commerce.
E-commerce,
Yeah.
all right. So it's coming home, nobody cares, and they're saying in United States, 40% of the clothes that are bought are never worn. Because they buy 2 dozen like this. 1, 2, 3 they'll wear, after that it's got bored, and again by the time they can wear these 2 dozen, already they've shopped once again, all right? 85% of the clothing on the planet within 1 year goes to the landfills. 100 billion pieces of clothing is sold on the planet every year, 100 billion, all right? And 85 billion pieces of clothing go into the landfills every year, and most of it is polyester. One of the most dangerous form of pollution is polyfiber is floating everywhere. It's in the air, it's in the soil, it's in the water. Some researchers have found placenta, the polyfiber is in the placenta, that in your mother's womb, you catch it. Some of them are saying, we don't know to what extent these numbers are correct, but it is right, it's in the right direction. They're saying almost every human being has about enough plastic in them to manufacture like a credit card. You have to pay. Someday, if you
Wow.
carry a credit card in your system, you keep paying, all right? So, this much plastic is all over the place, but everybody is trying to shoot the lowly plastic bag. I'm not saying you shouldn't shoot at it, but it's fashionable to do that, that's what is problem. Because the lowly plastic bag which is floating on the street, some beggar, some rag picker picks it up, and in India, that recycling is actually at a very good pace, not because of your sustainable consciousness, because of poverty, they're picking it out. Plastic bottles are recycled nearly 90% in India, it's the only country like that. This is not because we are very ecologically aware, simply because people are poor and they're picking out all the bottles. Anyway, one way or the other it's happening. But the polyfiber, the amount of damage it's causing, the way it enters the body, especially children, are wearing polyfiber because polyfiber is very, flammable. Because of that, they are coating it with, fire-resistant chemicals. These chemicals have been found to be carcinogenic. The many problems that children are facing today, young children having thyroid problems, is largely connected with this flammable, I'm sorry, non-flammable chemicals that they are using on the clothes. Plus autism, various things are associated with this. How many problems you're getting out of this, you do not know, but for sure, many problems are coming your way. A child till 15, 16 years of age should never wear anything polyfiber. They must wear organic clothing. Not that adults can, but at least you're more resistant to those things beyond 17, 18 years of age. But till then, it is very important you must wear organic fiber. But now the problem is, how many clothes do you have? And you can't do that with cotton or silk or something, so you end up buying poly, okay?
It's cheaper, so lot of them are going for synthetic.
See, even cotton and other things can be made cheaper if we increase the volume. So one simple thing that I'm suggesting is, you have influence in Telangana, you must push for this, I'm pushing for this in some states, that at least the school uniforms must be cotton or linen or whatever they can afford, all right? But it should not be polyfiber. You cannot recycle, only 1% is being recycled because nobody uses this polyfiber just as it is. It is always mixed in a complex mix to get various textures and whatever. So you can never recycle that complex material. If it was just pure nylon or pure polyfiber, we could have recycled it. You cannot recycle it because it's mixed with various other things, so recycling is not possible. Only 1% of the polyfiber that you're using in terms of clothing is being recycled. Rest is just going into nature and it's coming back to us in so many different ways. The credit card in your heart.
So, Sadhguru, in the last 50 years, meat production has gone up to close to 400%, and it's also contributing to 51% of greenhouse gas emission. Can we reverse this? Can technology play a role, or can meat consumers make some kind of changes in their diet, if not completely give up?
See, compared to various other solutions which are available, in terms of changing your clothing, in terms of changing, carbon spewing industries into carbon neutral industry and various other things. This is one of the simplest things that you can reverse. Nearly 77% of the land that is used for agriculture is used for animal rearing and its food, which is approximately 40 million square kilometers. 40 million square kilometers on the planet are being used to raise animals and their food. If you reduce your meat consumption by 50%, 20 million square kilometers of land on this planet will be available to do tree-based agriculture. Why tree-based agriculture is most important is, this term forest produce must go out of our vocabulary. There is no such thing as forest produce because there is not enough forest on this planet to harness it as produce, that's over. That is an era which is gone by. You cannot talk about forest produce in future. It is simply over. In India, it's completely over. Everywhere in the world, it's over. If you continue to use the word forest produce, you still believe you can exploit the forest. You just leave it. What about honey? What about tree bark? What about this? Just leave it. Whatever you want, you grow it. In this context, if you don't have to give up your meat, 50% less. All your doctors are telling you to do it. This is not even an ecological solution, this is a medical solution for your life, this is a health solution for your life. If you reduce your meat consumption by 50%, 20 million square kilometers will be available. If you raise that many trees, you can produce honey, you can do all the things that you're getting from the forest, you can have it on agricultural land, farmers will become rich and you will have what you need. See, right now this furniture is sitting here. This wood, where does it come from? If you just investigate, these are little old, but if you look at furniture which is made in the last 10 years, if you investigate, you will find this is come from either from Burma or Brazil or somewhere else. How did it come? If you look at it, more than 60 to 70% of it has come out of illegal felling. It becomes legal in the high seas. When it's cut, it's illegal, it gets somehow loaded onto the ships. On the high seas, there are ways to produce certificates for legality. If it comes here with a Brazilian certificate to India and lands here, no Indian official wants to go and check in Brazil, nor the user wants to check in Brazil, how was this timber cut, legally or illegally? Whether it's legal or illegal, it doesn't matter. Right now, every forest produce must become illegal. It's important. It's not just the tusks of an elephant. Even the bark of a tree should become illegal. You want the bark of a tree, grow it. You want timber, grow it. You want honey, grow it. We need to get there. For this, we need land. For this, all the people who are living on meat like carnivorous animals, you don't have to give it up. You're still a tiger, I understand, but At least 50%, 50% less.
I think it's doable by
It's very
everyone.
doable. But we also need to understand, this is not very relevant for India. Because in India, there are no real meat eaters, maybe a very small percentage. Others are all eating meat like a side dish. They're not on a meat diet. Nobody is eating a steak.
That's true, yeah, that's not in the culture, that
So
kind
it's
of cooking.
not in the culture, they're only eating it as a side dish on a nutritional requirement, whatever there is, or taste or nutrition or whatever. It is not such a big problem for India. But in the rest of the world, it's a massive, massive problem. If they bring down their meat consumption by 50%, and if we convert this into tree-based agriculture, a variety of uses that we have for trees. We need its bark, we need its leaf, we need the fruits, we need timber, we need everything. All this can be grown. One important thing in this direction is, if really lot of trees have to be there, at least 30 to 40% of our diet should come from the trees, not from the 3-month, 4-month cycle of crops. That means all of us should eat little more fruit.
That is also doable, I feel.
Very doable, but right now fruit is expensive, all these issues are there. Fruit is expensive because it's coming from New Zealand or Australia or Thailand. If you grow local tropical fruits here, they are not expensive, but everybody wants to eat an apple. Why does a South Indian want to eat an apple? Because English people told you an apple a day keeps the doctor away.
That's right.
No, there are southern Indian fruits, or tropical nation has variety of fruits. There are at least 40 to 50 common fruits which we used to see when we are young. Today hardly anything is there. If you go to the market, just 5 different types of fruits, that's all. There are no all those local things which were there. They are very, very healthy and they are very nutritious, and they also greatly enhance your immune system if you eat these fruits. So fruit trees can come only if the market demands it. There's a beautiful observation. When this Chinese traveler, Yuan Seng, about whom almost every school child reads in India, Megasthenes and this Chinese traveler, when they came, they made one observation. That is, the Indians have a disproportionately large fruit as part of their diet. And they're saying that could be the reason why they're intellectually so sharp. So
That's not there anymore.
we are becoming dumb
Right.
because that we are not conscious of the diet that we consume. One thing we need to understand about health is, one simple way to manage health is, your diet, whatever you eat, not what you drink, what you eat, if it is over 75% water content, your health will get very easily managed. If you eat a raw vegetable, it's somewhere over 70%. If you eat a fruit, it's generally over 90%. So, that is the best diet, as everybody knows. Suppose somebody is sick in the hospital, of course you're not taking a steak or a biryani for them, all right?
No,
You take fruits, because the message is clear. At least now you're sick, at least eat sensibly now. That's the message. But the person who takes it doesn't get it.
you're right. So, Sadhguru, you are one of the most influential voices in the subject of river revitalization, and you've taken up Kaveri calling as one of the rivers. But can this model be replicated across the country for other rivers which are also in the bad state?
See, this effort is already on, and it's very important that we set up a large-scale model that it works. Does it work? 100%, there's no question. We have now, including the recent plantations, for 20 years, we had more than 70,000 farmers who are into tree-based agriculture. How the water tables have come up, everything is all well documented now. United Nations agencies are seeing this as one of the flagship projects which needs to happen across the tropical world. Having seen the way Kaveri calling is being unfolded and the success rate of what is happening, now the government of India, the Environment Ministry, has done detailed project report for 13 rivers. We were in the process of working for 8 rivers. Then they came and said they are doing it for 13 rivers, so we have left it to them because they are better equipped to do this. The detailed project reports are happening for 13 rivers. Implementation has many issues. One thing is the policy. This took us almost 6.5 to 7 years to make the policy conducive for tree-based agriculture. One important thing is, there are too many activists who don't have any other activity in their life except protesting, all right? So because of this, if you grow a tree in your own land and if you cut it, they will come and protest in front of your land. They will make sure some policeman comes and arrests you because you cut a tree. Has he grown a tree in his life? No. You have grown it, maybe you have grown 10 and you wanted to cut one for some reason, but for that you will get harassed. Because of this, there are no trees on Indian farmland, you must understand this. If you fly from Coimbatore to Delhi, every 5 minutes look out of the airplane window, you will see India like a brown desert.
That's right.
No trees,
But
except
there
in the
used to
Western
be
Ghats.
trees earlier, right?
Of
Sadhguru?
course. These are all new activisms that they say you should not cut a tree. Arey, you have grown the tree, you have a right to cut the tree. Only then I will grow more trees, when I can use it when I want. So if you say that I cannot do what I grow on my tree the way what I grow in my land, I can't use it the way I want, then why will I grow it? I'll grow something else that I can use without your nuisance. So these laws we change now. Now they have set up what's called as a digital market. You can sell your timber. Right now, unfelled timber, I'm saying there's a tree standing here, you can show this is the girth, this is what it is, and you can sell it on the digital market. After the price is fixed, then you can cut it. And that also, if you have enough trees, they will only come and cut it the way they want and they'll take it. Oh, you're cutting the trees, then what's the point? I'm asking, who would want to grow anything on their land that is not profitable for them? Especially the farmer. An average farmer in this country is earning 6,500 rupees. This is what he's earning. And you ask him to save the planet? It's just not going to work. You were talking about sustainability. If something has to sustain anywhere, anybody who is doing that activity, it should benefit them. Otherwise, why will they do it? They will not do it. Nobody will do it. Whether it's marketplace or marriage, both the parties should benefit, otherwise nothing will sustain, isn't it?
True.
Nothing will sustain. In any relationship, nothing will sustain if it is not beneficial for everybody. So, nearly 84% of India's land is under tilling, farm, 84%. So if you want to grow trees, will the activists grow it on their heads? There's not enough in their head even to nourish a tree, I know that. Yes, unfortunately there isn't, that's why they're talking this nonsense. Well, I'm speaking like this because I've seen the pain of what is happening. You must just go out and see in southern Tamil Nadu, what is the state of water out there? This land looks rich, but here in the month of May, you go and see borewells which have gone 1100, 1200 feet, the motor won't run for 5 to 7 minutes, it dries up. If 2 consecutive monsoons fail, you will see a disaster that you've not imagined possible. Approximately, in our record of monsoons, it shows somewhere between 34 to 37 years, 2 consecutive monsoons fail like a pattern. So that may come any time in the next 2, 3, 4, 5 years. When that comes, when there is no drinking water for these millions of people, what will happen, the social unrest that will happen and the turmoil that it will create is unimaginable. If you want water in the soil, because we must understand, soil is the biggest dam on the planet. Soil, if it is in the right condition, can hold 800% more water than all the rivers on the planet put together. That's its capacity.
800%,
Yes,
wow. Oh.
800%. But as the organic value in the soil goes down, its ability to hold water will go down. First of all, we need to understand the only source of water we have in a tropical land like India, our rivers have about 4% glacial water. You keep hearing about the disasters of glacial whatever, that's a different matter. But nearly 96% of the water is only from monsoon, there's only one source for us, monsoon. So if we hold it in the land for long periods of time, because there is substantial organic material, there is shade, there is leaves and animal waste, everything in the land that it holds, and above all there is a root system which allows the water to percolate, then your ponds, your lakes, your wells and your rivers will have water. So all these which you think are source of water, a river is not a source of water, it's a destination. A pond, lake, well is not a source of water, it is a destination. The only source that you have is monsoon. This one thing has to sink into the Indian population. Now, with consistent effort, now the Jal Shakti Ministry has come up with a scheme. Where the rain falls, there you catch it. But we are still thinking of urban population, you do water harvesting, whatever comes in your land, hold it there. All this is fine, but this is not a solution. It's okay, it's a nominal solution. The real thing is, a maximum amount of land is in agriculture. Unless there is substantial vegetation there, unless you shift your patterns of doing agriculture from 3-4 month cycle to a longer cycle, unless you do that, you will not hold the monsoon water in the land, it just flows on the surface.
Is this why you said in one of your talks that agriculture is the biggest ecological disaster?
It is, there's no question, nobody wants to say this because everybody wants to hit the industry. In this country, industry occupies just a little over 1% of the land. They can pollute the air, they cannot pollute the land with 1%. The real thing is agriculture. The amount of chemicals we are using in the land is the main problem.
So the recent disaster in Uttarakhand, Sadhguru, I read one of your tweets where you said you have to stop constructing dams in Himalayas, but isn't it beneficial to hold the flooding when these kind of disasters happen?
These days I'm talking too much ecology, people think I'm an ecologist. But there was a time when I was 19. So I went to meet Sundarlal Bahuguna. You heard of him? He sounds like your grandfather, you were not born maybe when he was there. Sundarlal Bahuguna is the one who started the Chipko movement. Why Chipko movement started is because during that time, in 60s and 70s, a massive deforestation of Himalayas happened, for which we are paying the price now. I don't have the numbers off the cuff, but some incredible number of trees were cut in Himalayas because we were building Indian railways. Indian railways, all the sleepers largely came from this area and the Ganga basin. It took us, our genius minds, took us 35 years to figure out that we could make the railway sleepers either with steel or with concrete. Now most of the railway sleepers are concrete. We could have done it then, but instead we shaved Himalayas off. So because of that, destabilization started. So it is Sundarlal Bahuguna who started this movement where all the local tribals went and hugged the trees. When they tried to cut the trees, they went and hugged the trees. If you want to cut the tree, cut me also, that kind of thing. So I went to meet Sundarlal Bahuguna and he was not there, he was traveling. In Uttaranchal. I met his wife, Bimala Devi, and you're lucky that I didn't meet him because if I had met him, I would have become a full-time environmentalist. No spirituality would have been there probably I went there to join him, but I didn't meet him and then I got lost in Himalayas and I came back with my head zonking So, it started with Chipko movement. Since then, I have trekked in Himalayas for 27 years continuously. I know this land very well. Himalayas is still a growing mountain, it's still growing. If you look at Himalayas, a large part of it is just rubble piled up on each other. It's not like Western Ghats, it's solid rock. Himalayas is just rubble piled up. If you disturb one thing, everything starts coming down.
That's why too many landslides. Is that why?
Even road making brings down landslides, but that could be managed. Road is not such an intrusive thing. It can be managed. You have to do that. If road is not there, then how do people live? But the hydroelectric projects, when the first project started, the Theri Dam, when they laid the foundation, I was there when the protests were happening. A small amount of protests, I went and saw they had… see, people are just protesting without understanding what is what. And they have no means, just blocking the road one day, shouting slogans is not going to solve because big money has been invested. You need to talk in a different way, you need to get people to speak up in the parliament, not on the street. So whatever, that didn't work, Theri Dam went. I've traveled through Himalayas every year as Theri Dam developed, as the Theri village itself got, submerged and they built the new Theri. I've seen that entire process through those 15–20 years of that dam developing. It was a most painful thing to see the level of work that was happening. But Theri Dam is of one kind, which can any day be a disaster. So this Theri Dam, which was completed somewhere in the 70s, towards the last part of 70s, from then to now is more than 50 years. I have no data to show this, but I'm telling you from my experience of that land. Whatever dam that was supposed to hold the water, whatever the volume it was supposed to hold, I am 100% confident at least 20% of that volume is gone, because I know how much silt comes down that river. I've camped there, I've been there, I've just seen how… this is the only rivers, Himalayan rivers, where you can actually see things. See, there is Kaveri Delta, you won't see a thing moving, but still delta gets whatever, thousands of tons of alluvial soil every year, all right? You don't see anything moving. But there you see things moving down the river. At least 20–25% of its volume is gone. Probably in another 30–40 years' time, 50% will be gone. All right? The dam that you have built will be largely full because this has happened to dams like Bakra Nangal. It's not anymore in use, the silt has come up right till the top. You cannot dredge it because dredging is more expensive than building the dam. So, Mahanadi, which is flowing through plains and coming, if that can do it to Hirakud and whatever this Bakra Nangal and all this have become like that, most of them have become defunct. In United States, 900 major dams have been decommissioned in the last 20 years' time.
Wow, that's a big number.
Yes, because all of them see this was a mistake made in the past. But we are still talking about building more dams. And especially these hydroelectric projects, they are boring through the Himalayan mountains, kilometers inside. Right now, this recent disaster, most people are trapped there and it's gone out of the news cycle. Over 200 people were missing, they're still missing, but we are not declaring them dead. Lot of them in the tunnels, whatever, unfortunately. This is not the time to pick on it because people have lost their lives, workers and villagers and others who lived there and various officials, everybody. But digging tunnels through a sensitive mountain like that is not a wise thing to do. For hydroelectric you are doing this because people have always believed hydroelectricity is clean electricity. No smoke coming out, right? This is why I am saying there's an unnecessary focus on air pollution and not enough on the terrain. That's where the real problem is. This is popular because urban people, when they go out jogging in the morning, they feel like they're smoking a cigarette. So, they're complaining, because of that, it's in their focus. Your focus is too much on the air, your focus has to shift to the earth, because that's where the real problem is. This hydroelectric power, they say is the cheapest power, which is not true. Today, wind power and solar power is way cheaper than hydroelectric power. Hydroelectric power is costing 5 to 6 rupees per unit. This is costing only 2 to 3 rupees per unit, and it'll further come down as the technology for solar panels is going up year on year. As it improves, it'll further come down. The amount of area that you were taking to generate a unit of solar power 10 years ago and what you're taking right now is almost less than 12%. So that much improvement has happened, and there is still room for improvement. So definitely in a country like this where sun is on all the time, there's a lot of room for this. There are issues with solar, it's only daytime, there is no night time. One thing is, they believe hydropower is reliable in stabilizing the power grids, that's one reason that they're giving. I would say, I know this is controversial, all the environmentalists will get at me. A properly planned and built nuclear station is far more safer than hydroelectric, especially in a land like India, particularly because other parts of the country, there is no room to build any more hydro projects. Most of them have become defunct anyway. But in Himalayas, I think it's best that you don't build it. What you have built is fine, and the amount of explosives that you have to use to dig these tunnels is super dangerous. And on the way to Gangotri, there is a tunnel. I have actually driven into this tunnel because I knew somebody in the project. They drove me into the tunnel for almost 3 kilometers under the mountain. When I look at this mountain and this tunnel, it just takes a little bit of seismological moment for the whole mountain to just collapse like that. When that happens, the amount of havoc the water bodies there will create for further down in the foothills is going to be unimaginable. I don't think we should mess with it. We have a road, the revenue that they're talking about is that Uttaranchal earns some 25,000 crores per year. If you kept it very beautiful, which it is naturally, if you maintained it like that, but Switzerland is earning 340,000 crores per year just on tourism. And believe me, the Himalayan region is as beautiful, if not more beautiful than Switzerland in many ways. I have trekked in this region for 29 years. Year on year, when you go there, not once will you feel bored, why am I coming to the same place? Because it's so spectacularly different. Every moment to moment, as the sun's angle changes, every moment, minute to minute, it's a different place. So we can earn enormously with tourism rather than boring tunnels through the mountains. Now after two disasters, I think they must seriously rethink this. It's very, very important. I know money has been spent, I know projects have been given. Right now winding up means may cost thousands of crores, but thousands of crores are nothing when compared to what possible disasters can happen. Please develop tourism in a controlled, regulated way so that the beauty of the place is not lost. And anyway, already there are roads, and it is also strategically important to keep these roads open. So they've been doing it for many decades now. So if you want to create more facility, when I was traveling there was nothing, I used to just sleep on the culverts in that cold But now you can create facility in a regulated way, where you should build, where you should not build. This is not some rocket science, it can be just easily figured out. You saw in the previous disaster, whole buildings and villages falling off into the river, because in unplanned ways they're building. There are ways to build. It is not necessary that you should not build anything, you can build. There are more sensible ways to do something. It doesn't take anything. I will tell you, when I first went to Kanti Sarovar, which is what burst last time,
Right.
where they're saying only over 18,000 people got killed. So when I just saw this glacial lake, the dam which is holding this lake is just rubble, which is gathered because of glacial movement. Just rubble piled up. So it's holding a big lake in position. This is always moving because underneath is solid ice, and that ice is not stable, it moves a little bit. You can hear it moving, it'll make some enormous dinosaur kind of noises in the night. I've camped there. It'll make terrible noises because ice… ice is rubbing against the rock when it moves. Noise means it's like an otherworldly kind of noise, this happening. So when I looked at this, I saw if this rubble dam opens up, it'll go… See, they've built the temple smartly. Temple is built in a place, when it opens up, nothing will happen. But all this whole temporary township which lasts for 7-8 months in a year, all these shops and accommodations, everything, they'll all get wiped out. Well, that's how these people do things. If they get wiped out, they think it's God's wrath. If they are there, they think it's blessing and they manage. I said, okay. Then because like generally there was no accommodation there, then the army camp was there, army station is there, like a medical station and this. So there was a young Punjabi, captain who was in charge of that. I went there and conversed with him, and then he let me sleep there and they served me nice food, everything. Then I was talking to him and then I said, see, all these idiots who set up their shops and stuff, their life and their mind can't think beyond 6-8 months. They think it's temporary so that they can put it up anywhere and go. But if that lake opens up, they'll all go with it. They are hoping it won't happen during their time. But Indian Army engineers, you have also put it here that you are also in the line of the water. How can you do this?
What did he say to that?
Because Indian Army stays there even during the winter.
That's right.
When the snow is like 20 feet high. Around the temple, 15 to 20 feet high snow. And even during that time, the army personnel stay there and maintain the temple. I said, you guys have also put this up, but you're also in the line of the water. So unfortunately, we do these kind of things and then we think some natural disaster happened. No, this is not natural, we are causing the disasters. I would, irrespective of what money it costs us, even if it's a successful project, I would say in the next 10-15 years, please decommission all the hydroelectric projects in the sensitive areas of Himalayas. You're doing it in Sikkim, you're doing it in Meghalaya, that's okay, they are more stable hills. But in Uttaranchal, all mega dams, in next 10 to 15 years, maximum 20 years, you must decommission them and develop this area like the Switzerland of India, all right? Because anything beautiful means it must be foreign, that's why I'm saying Switzerland of India. Himalayas of Europe, we can say, but…
Sadhguru, can you talk about 1 trillion trees by Economic Forum and Conscious Planet?
See, 1 trillion is an impressive number. The thought behind it is, as I said earlier, about 50 years ago, there were supposed to be some 9 trillion trees. Now they've made all these calculations. If you plant 1 trillion trees, in about 12 to 15 years, all the carbon that you are spewing out right now, you can recapture through the trees. That's how effective a tree is. This is why I said if you fix the soil, you will fix the air. So based on this calculation, some academics from Germany and Austria, they all came together and this particular professor made a geo-planning and arid regions, how much empty land is there on the planet, we can plant 1 trillion trees, this is a project. So, as an idea, as an intent, it's fantastic. But when you come to practical details, there are many issues there which we are still debating with them. Nothing much has happened now in the last 1 year. But the intent is great. And the people behind it are capable people who can do things. They're not environmentally distinct people, but they're in businesses, they're in various positions of leadership. If they make up their mind, things will happen. So in that context, it's a very important project, trillion tree project. So, how do we plant 1 trillion trees? Now their idea is the arid lands, let's plant it there. See, we need to understand, in certain parts of the world, trees have not grown naturally for a good reason. Tree is not a solution for everything. In tropical land, tree is a big solution. You don't go and plant trees in North Pole because it's empty land, all right? Nor do you go and plant trees on the very top of this mountain. This mountain, which is only 5,800 feet, the topmost part of the mountain is always bald, only grass, because it's wind blown. It has to be like that. If artificially if you put trees there, generally they don't survive, but suppose you do something and make it survive, it'll cause various disturbances to the rest of the ecology. It has to be bald, that part, because that's how it is. So many parts of the world, trees do not grow, and that's how it should be. I'm saying our idea of growing trees is not going against nature. You just trying to strengthen its hands, because we are the ones who weakened it. So there are various issues, but as an idea, as an intent, it's a fantastic intent and the people behind it are good people. So something will happen in that direction. Right now, we are trying to convince them. They were all thinking of technological solutions. Let's, get some 100,000 drones and spray 1 trillion trees. I said, see, a seed is not a tree, nor is a sapling a tree. It takes 10 years before you can call it a tree. So, you're not going to plant trees ever. You're only going to either plant a seed or sapling is little better, but that's not a tree. It takes 10 years before you can call that thing a tree. So, trillion tree is a massive commitment. Just planting it is not the thing, nurturing it is the thing. Nurturing it means, nurturing it in terms of natural elements is one thing, nurturing it and preventing human beings from disrupting it is another big challenge. Because we need to understand this is people who have grown up in cities, they don't understand this. If there is a young tree which is just 1 inch thick, you will not understand why anybody would cut this. But for the local villager, that 1 inch thick stick is very useful, he can do many things with that. When he sees this, he sees money, he sees value, he sees utility. He doesn't see a tree, he sees a product in some way. So, how will you protect it? By the time it's this thick, somebody will definitely cut it because there's economic value to it. So I'm saying the only way you can make this happen is bringing economic value to it. That is, put it on farmland, that the farmer grows it. He can use it the way he wants. And once it is economically beneficial, if he cuts one, he will plant 10. This has to become a cycle. As I said, trillion trees you're going to plant or 10 trillion trees you're going to plant, I don't know. But if you inspire this as a movement right now, after years of work, today in the United Nations, they're clearly recognizing tree-based agriculture is one of the massive part of the solution is tree-based agriculture. Because that is what we've been pushing for 22 years now. And we have enough tree-based agriculture farmers to prove that it's worked on all levels. Ecologically, soil regeneration, economic well-being, it's worked. There is no economic angle, nothing is going to work in this world right now. That is where we are. Nobody is going to plant tree and think, wow, I'm giving oxygen to the world. That's not going to happen. That may happen in small scale, but it's not going to happen large scale. And we are tilling much more land than we should because of inefficient agricultural practices. We need to work on that. If we… right now, whatever land we're tilling on the planet, 1/3 of that land can provide enough food for 8 billion people, 1/3. So 2/3 would be available for doing other things, to get back vegetation. You can get back fruits, you can get back timber, you can get back medicinal trees, variety of things you can do. So for that to happen, the diet patterns have to change, this is why conscious planet is very important. How you breathe, how you eat, how you dress, how you do everything, and how you die also is important. That if this becomes a conscious process, these things will naturally happen. But all this looks like a very long cycle, but there is no very long rope for us. No very long rope for us. Especially for India and many other tropical nations, the rope is not long at all. As I said, 2 consecutive failed monsoons, you will have a massive disaster on your hands.
So finally, Sadhguru, after lockdown, lot of things changed even at the ashram. What are your
Lot more than
expansion?
what you can see.
Really? So, what is the future forward, or what are the expansion plans you have for the ashram and Isha Yoga Center?
Oh, I never thought of expanding Isha Yoga Center. My plan is conscious planet. So, to support that, to make that happen, we will need thousands of people. So right now we're in the process of building infrastructure both here and in Bangalore and in United States, where a few thousand people can live there and work towards a conscious planet. In United States, we have a little over 5,300 acres. So about 25 to 30,000 people should be living there in the next 5 years. The idea of this is to bring a very ecologically and spiritually conscious population to live together and produce a massive impact on the planet, to create a conscious planet. Where watch out for 2022, it was supposed to be 2021, we pushed it by a year. Watch out for 2022, there'll be some major moments to create a conscious planet.
Wow,
Namaskaram, thank you very much.
thank you. I feel truly blessed to have interacted with Sadhguru about different aspects of environment, ecology, and sustainability. Hope you all found this episode thought provoking and inspiring. Don't forget to share this video with your dear ones. Please do subscribe to my channel. See you all in the next season, season 2. Signing off, Shilpa Reddy.